Donald Trump will soon be inaugurated as the 47th President of America. He is considered a very controversial man. However, Andrew Jackson makes Donald Trump look like a Girl Scout. Imagine a US president who once killed a man in a duel, adopted a child from his sworn enemy, and fought off an assassin with his bare hands. Does that sound unbelievable? Well, buckle up, because today we're diving into the absolute chaos that is President Andrew Jackson. One of the most interesting men who ever lived, and definitely America's craziest president. But was Jackson a hero, or was he just plain unhinged? Stick around, because this is going to be a good one. Welcome back to the channel. If you love history that's a little bit off the rails, you're in the right place, because in today's video we are going to be looking at the jaw-dropping life of Andrew Jackson, a man who rose from humble beginnings and made it all the way to the White House, leaving behind a legacy that's about as chaotic as a tsunami. Like and subscribe for more crazy history videos like this. Andrew Jackson was born March 15th, 1767 in a log cabin somewhere near the border of North Carolina. Jackson, always a controversial figure, even his place of birth is debated. Both North and South Carolina claim him as their own. Now, his early life was marked by tragedy. He lost both his brothers and his mother during the American Revolution. By the age of 14, Jackson was an orphan. Now, this tough upbringing shaped his volatile nature. During the American War of Independence, Jackson was captured by British forces along with his brother Robert, as the two teenagers were helping to pass messages to the American forces. A British officer ordered Jackson to polish his boots. Jackson, ever the argumentative type, refused, and he was slashed across the face with a sword. This left a scar that marked Jackson for life. Let's just say diplomacy was not exactly Jackson's strong suit. As Jackson got older, he didn't calm down. Like any good lunatic, he only got worse. He fought in at least 13 duels, most of which were over insults to his honour. His most famous duel was in 1806 with Charles Dickinson. No, not you, Dickinson. Jackson allowed his opponent to shoot first, like a gentleman, and Dixon did not disappoint. He shot Jackson right in the chest. Thankfully for Jackson, bullets back then were not as lethal as they are today. Jackson was fine, he fired back and killed Dickinson. Bullets might not have been as powerful back then, but surgery was far from advanced. So for the rest of his life, Jackson had a bullet in his chest, but he also had 2 other bullets from separate duels. So 3 bullets in his body for the rest of his life. Imagine him trying to go through airport security today. During the Creek War in 1813, Jackson adopted a Creek orphan named Lincoln after the Battle of Toulouse-Achy, where the child's family had been killed. Jackson, showing empathy for little Lincoln, and put him in his home and raised him as part of his family despite the conflict with the Creek people. Jackson's biggest claim to fame, however, was his role during the First Napoleonic War, or as the Americans call it, the War of 1812. Jackson was granted the role Major General in the Tennessee Militia. In 1815, Jackson was given the nickname Old Hickory and became a national hero after his video at the Battle of New Orleans against the British. But Jackson's military record was as brutal as it was impressive. During the First Seminole War, he invaded Florida, which at the time was controlled by the Spanish. Now, Jackson did this without authorization. That's right, he just decided to basically invade another country because he felt like it. Now, dueling is one thing, but this psychopath just started an international conflict because he felt like it. Jackson overthrew local governments in Florida, killed enemy soldiers, and even executed prisoners. Now, as if invading Spanish territory wasn't enough, Jackson also attacked British forces as well as Native American tribes. So that's 3 separate groups who he attacked. Shockingly, this actually worked, and Jackson's one-man invasion contributed significantly to Spain ceding Florida to the United States. Jackson's military success made him very popular in the US. In 1829, he became America's 7th president. Old Hickory had made it all the way to the White House. His time in office was nothing short of chaotic. He was the first president to survive an assassination attempt when a man fired 2 pistols at him. Both of them misfired. Instead of ducking for cover like a normal person, Jackson beat the crap out of the wannabe assassin with his cane. Jackson was 67 at the time. What a guy. Now, Jackson was obviously a badass and he was obviously crazy, but that came at a price. He was not always a good guy. Jackson's policies towards the Native Americans was devastating. The Indian Removal Act of 1830, which Jackson signed into law, led to the infamous trial of Tears. This is where thousands of Native Americans were forcibly relocated, suffering death and hardship. It's one of the darkest chapters in American history, and Jackson's role in this is significant and a stain on his legacy. Now, it is worth noting that back then it was a different time and there had been many Indian wars. It was a war. The history of America and the native peoples is an interesting one, and I do want to do a video on this soon. But we simply don't have enough time today. So just be aware, for that time, Jackson's policies were relatively popular amongst the white Americans. Jackson's popularity also came from the fact that he was the first common man to be the president of America, breaking the mold from elite plantation-owning Virginian politicians such as George Washington. He was beloved by many for his populist approach and fierce defense of the everyday American. He dismantled the Second Bank of the United States, viewing it as a tool of the wealthy elite, and paid off the national debt, the only president in US history to do so. So there you have it, folks. Andrew Jackson, America's craziest ever president. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, please like and subscribe. If I can get to 1,000 subscribers, I can get monetized, and that's good for you, the audience, as it means I can spend more time making videos so we all win. Thank you for watching and have a great day.